Okay, so Sam, I just started recording this, so you should be able to go ahead and start up.
Okay, sweet. So it should switch to my screen here. Did it?
Yes.
Great. Okay. So basically what we're going to start with is we're going to tell you guys what rotation the other team is starting in for each video, for the video that we send you. But right now you can see in this video, the other team is starting in rotation 1. So what I'm going to do is show you how to chart the first ball attack, the whole play from serve to pass, set, hit, and only what happens in that serve receive play, not the rest of the rally. So first what we're going to do is on a piece of paper, we're going to mark, we are going to mark where the players are. So as you can see up here in the video, this is the setter next to OH2. So we're going to mark that down here. We're going to have the setter next to OH2. I'll try and write big so you guys can see it. And then we have the libero, and then we have OH1. They are also stacked here. OH1 is hiding behind this player, the middle. So then we have the opposite in the middle here. So we're going to write them in. I'm going to write them in a little bit smaller because they're likely not passing. So we have the opposite and we have middle. Okay, so now that we've written where they are, we're going to watch the play, and then we're going to chart what happens on the pass, the set, and the attack. Okay, I'll explain the key in a little bit, but first let's watch the rally. Okay, so let's go here. Let's play just this situation. All right, so we serve, the ball goes kind of short, OH2 passes, the setter runs in, and they have to free ball short middle to us. Okay, so I here on my sheet have OH2 passing a ball to the middle, and then the setter setting the ball pretty tight, and then a soft driven ball middle short. So if they had hit it and it had gone deep angle or something, it would have been a hard line, but that was a slow ball coming in short middle here. Okay, nothing happened at the end of that hit, so I'm just going to leave that line blank. At the beginning of every rally, we're going to start by marking it with a circle. So the first time
Sam, sorry to interrupt. Is there any way that you could flip that vertically? Because right now we're looking at the
sorry. Yeah, there we go. Better?
Okay. Yeah, that's better to me, I think. Hopefully.
Okay, cool. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so, and that should come back. Okay, so basically we're in rotation 1. We marked down the first rally, and at the end of every rally, we're going to do something to a circle. So first time they're in rotation 1, our first circle goes here. Now, if nothing happens as a result of their first attack, which is what happened because they just free balled it into the court, we just leave that circle blank. And since nothing happened, you know, we either won the rally or lost the rally later. Turns out we ended up winning the losing the rally. So the other team got the point. So eventually the other team gets to rotation 2. I'm going to switch the computer to where they are in rotation 2. And you can see now their lineup in rotation 2. Okay, so it's a standard rotation 2 lineup. And now we're going to mark on our paper. Make sure it's vertical. We're going to mark on our paper where they are in 2. So OH2 is now in the back row. Libero is still passing out of middle back. OH1 is now front row. And their middle is lined up here. Opposite. And their setter. Okay, so we're all set, ready in rotation 2. So this helps us make sure we know where their passers are in any given serve receive. If they do some funky stack where everybody's on one side of the court, we have that noted here. So now let's watch a rally and let's see what happens and mark it down. And again, it's just about what happens on the first attempt to attack the ball over the net. So we are going to serve. It goes to OH2 and she shanks it. So it's an ace. So now I'm going to talk about the key of what we marked down as a result. So we served the ball to OH2. She
shanked her pass over here. It was an ace, so we're gonna mark an A. So in that circle, we are going to put a little circle, okay? Because we got an ace. So let me go up to this key. The key here is going to be big circle with a little circle in it for ace. A circle with an X through it if they have a hitting error. Circle with a B in it if we get a block for a point, not just a block in play, but if we get a block for a point. A circle filled in is going to be their kill. And a circle that's not filled in, as we saw in the first rally, is just where nothing happens during that portion of the play, okay? So what just happened? We got an ace. I go to the circle, add a little circle, and now since we got an ace, that means they're in receive again. So we are going to see what happens during the next rally. So exciting. Great serve. Pretty sure it was Maya. Great serve, Maya. Okay, let's see if she can do it again. She tries. She gets OH2, but OH2 has a good pass. She sets behind, and they get a kill in the line seam. Okay, so that time, we're going to mark that down. We serve OH2 again. Sorry. Yeah, okay. Serve OH2 again. She gets a good pass. They set behind, and then they hit into the line seam. And for our kill, we're just going to do a little fill-in circle here, the same way that we're going to fill in the point circle here, okay? Since they got a kill, we know that they won't be in receive, and they would be, the next time we chart them, they would be in rotation 3. So the next time you go to your chart, you would draw a little square with a whole court. You'd write down their positions. In rotation 3, you'd mark down that it is rotation 3, and you'd start a new line of circles. So I'm going to give you an example of if they got back to rotation 1, I'm just going to give you an example of what it might look like if they have an error. Let's say they're in rotation 1. We serve the libero. She gets a good pass. She sets a 1, but that middle hits the ball out of bounds, okay? So we're going to put a little cross through that, and then we're going to, now that they're in their second round of rotation 1, we're going to put a new circle and a new line, and we're going to have an X for that error, okay? Since they had an error, they go back to receive. Let's say we serve OH2, and she passes onto her own side, so they set behind, and we get a block, so she hits it here. That ends there, and we put a circle with a B. Okay, so again, we are just marking down what happens on the pass in receive, and we stop it once the attack happens. Okay, so now if they shank the pass, if OH1 shanks this pass, you could mark down that the pass went this way and that it was an ace. Okay, and then you would mark here that it was an ace. All right, so you guys can see the key up here. It's all just trying to map what they do in serve receive, see what passers struggle the most, see who they set on any given pass. If they pass the ball off the net, do they always set their outside, or do they sometimes set behind? So it's all a matter of charting the pass and what it leads to. So Chris, do you have anything to add to that?
I don't think so. I just put in the chat that you guys can always write in if you have a question, even though you're muted to talk. I think just paying attention to the key up above, and everyone really understanding that once the play goes into a rally, if there isn't a result off of the attack from the other team, or it's an ace, then all we're marking is is open circle if we won the point, and if we didn't win the point, you're not marking anything. So if they have a particular rotation that they're really good in, that they've done a really, really good job at siding out in that rotation every single time, those lines might look like you might have 3 filled in dots, you know, and like
you guys might see something like this in that situation, right? You guys might see this, and then the next time this, and then the next time this. That means they side it out with a kill every single time, right? If you see a black dot on each line.
Yeah, or if the lines, if the lines were all blank, that probably wouldn't happen. But if the lines were all blank and you know that they went through that rotation a couple times, then that would just mean that they weren't able to first ball side out, but they were able to win those points every time without actually being able to put the first ball away. But when you
The
guys,
last thing, just
go
to
ahead.
bounce off of that, the last thing that I would say, just noting that is that, black dots might mean that you're serving, not that well. White dots might mean, okay, you're serving well, but they kept the ball in play. And the rest of the rally is going to be a result of what Chris is going to talk to you about. But this is just that, like, how are we serving? How are we putting them out of position?
And yeah, this is strictly, we're talking about serve receive, and we're trying to win the serve receive battle and get some information on how we can make them as unsuccessful with their reception and their first attack as possible. Because we know that if we put teams in a lot of trouble right out of the gate and they don't do a good job putting together a quality attack on that very first serve reception, that's going to put us in a really good chance to win that point. So I put in the chat, I asked if anybody has a question. No one's put anything in there. So does everybody understand and think that they can go through that whole set and chart it that way? Yes. Chloe's nodding yes. Maya, yes. 80, yes. Maya A, yes. Colby, yes. Lauren, or not Lauren. Sorry, I always do that to you. Sorry, Caitlin. Okay. All right. Avery, yes. You good? Okay, perfect. All right. Sam, you have anything else, or you want to switch over?
No, that's good for me. Yeah, switch over. If you guys here, I'll go back to my notes real quick. And if you guys want to just take a screenshot of your phone, if you're on your phone or your computer, you can take a screenshot of that. And then I'll wait 5 seconds and I'll zoom in on the key and you guys can take a screenshot of the key. Okay, so now I'll zoom in on the key.
And also remember that I'll have this, I'm recording this right now, so you can always, I'll put it out there I'm actually going to send this out to all the teams.
Yeah.
For them to reference.
Okay, so there you go. No, my part's done. I'm good.
Okay, cool. All right, guys. So my thing's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to talk about just tracking the in-system, or not in-system plays, but the in-rally plays. And I'm going to exclude all of the swings that the team takes off of their serve reception. And I'm only going to chart the swings that they take in rally. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to share my screen and you're going to watch a rally. I'll warn you, the video is going to be super choppy. There's just not really a lot I can do about that, but I'm just going to share my screen from here. So I just want you to watch basically the first rally of this set. Okay,
Chris,
so you should all be able to see this. I'm going to go ahead and play this rally. I know it's going to be choppy, but it's a long rally. So just to give you an idea about what I'm going to chart. Okay. Okay, so I know that was super choppy, but ultimately what I want to get out of that is if you were able to watch that live, then hopefully you would have been able to see, and I'm going to put this up here. Oh, that doesn't work very well with the virtual thing. Hold on. Okay, forget it. I'm gonna switch to this. Okay, so you guys should all be looking at the whiteboard that I'm sharing. So what I'm gonna do is just draw a little volleyball court here.
And notice that Chris's court and my court look completely different because we're charting different things.
Yeah, we're charting different stuff. So this is going to be completely different than what Sam's doing. It's just this would be two different people doing this. If we were playing an actual match, we wouldn't have the same person charting both these things. We'd have one person do one and one person do another. Okay, so if you were to be able to watch that rally with the clear film, there's a couple balls in there that were free balls by the other team. I'm not going to chart free balls, but what I'm going to do is chart attacks. So there were kind of 4 legitimate attacks from the other team in that rally. One of them was the outside hitter, and she attacked a ball relatively into the middle of the court. So I'm going to draw a line for that, and she didn't get a kill off of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of mark this area here. And the reason I'm going to do that is because what I'm trying to create here is what we call a heat map. And so a heat map is going to show on the court where the balls are going more often than not. You can I kind of like the highlighting function of this whiteboard, because you can already tell that the more I draw over here, the darker that red's going to be. And that gives you a little bit of an idea. So just going along the lines of that heat map, if a girl hit a ball to the same spot one time, it would look like that. If she hit the same spot, hit the ball there again, it would look like that. If she hit the ball there again, it would look like that. You get the idea that the darker the red is, the more concentration there is of hits going to that area. Now we're only going to do one rally, so we're not going to have enough to fill that whole area. But if you were statting a whole match, it'd start to look like that. So there was another ball that was attacked by the opposite, and she attacked the ball kind of cross court deep. It was dug over here. Then the outside hitter had a ball that was blocked back to her side, but it didn't result in the point. It was picked up by her teammates, and then she also had a little loopy shot that she tried right here. And those were the 4 legitimate attacks that the other team had. They also had 2 free balls that they sent over in that rally, but I didn't chart them. Okay, so I'm going to undo those. So what I want to do is kind of create the key for you, like Sam had, about the different things that you are going to chart in this scenario. So if an outside hitter or any player attacks a ball and they attack the ball to some location on the court, you're going to track where that ball went. If it's dug, you're just going to kind of color in where that ball went. If it was a kill, maybe on her next swing, she hits the ball here and she gets a kill. So if she gets a kill on it, I'm still going to do my little color in guy, but then I'm also going to come in and I'm going to mark that it was a kill. If she has a ball that she hits and it's an error, I'm not going to do the squiggle in. I'm not concerned about the location of errors as far as where they land on the other side of the outside the court, but I am going to mark that was an arrow. Okay. Now, besides just hard driven balls, they might also hit some shots. I like to mark shots with a little bit more of a loopy line, indicating that was not a hard driven ball. Maybe it was a tip over the block like this. Okay. Now she could also attack, and this would be a good time to talk as well, as I've kind of drawn all my lines coming out from the same spot, but we know that hitters hit from multiple locations. So I also try to mark a little bit where she's coming from. So let's say she got set on the inside, she took a swing here, and she got blocked. Okay. Now this, like the last time, this would be a block, and her team picked it up. So the block didn't result in a point. It wasn't a stuff block. So I would just mark it with a squiggle that way. Now let's say she gets set more in this location and she gets blocked and it was a point for our team. Then I would mark that with a B for a block. She could also hit into the block. Let's say she hits into the block from way out here and we block it, but we block it out of bounds. That's a kill for her if she tools us out of bounds. So I would mark it that way. And that way I just, at the end, I want to be able to keep track of how many kills and errors and blocks we had against different players. Now, if it came from different locations, I would just do all those same things, but either from the middle or from the right side. So you saw me earlier do one where the right side attack, let's say the right side tries to tip over the block, or the right side tries to pound the ball line, or she gets a seam and she pounds the ball hard right into this area and she gets a kill. Okay, now, the one thing that you're gonna see when I show you my chart that I did for the set that we're watching at the end is I did different players in different colors. So when it's the opposite is in a different color. So it just allows me to be able to differentiate a little bit better. Okay. All right, so if you go and you watch the video from that set, I'm gonna, I know that video is choppy, but I'm just gonna show a couple more, or just like 2 more rallies. Let me stop this here.
Do you want me to show it on my phone again?
Sure, if you want to.
Yeah, I can do that. Do you have
Okay.
a minute mark to use?
Yeah. So go to the 10-minute mark.
Okay, 10-minute mark. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And then just go.
Go.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, so they're gonna get a run out of this. They go to the middle tips. So we'd mark that. They get a free ball back. Go to the outside. She goes down the line. And she gets a point, so we'd mark that as a kill. Okay, you can stop it, Sam.
All right.
It's pretty straightforward. Does anybody have a question about that key? And that actually reminds me of one more thing. Let me bring that whiteboard back up. So on that particular play, she actually touched the block. That ball went off the tips of fingers and not out of bounds. So if that happens, I do a little, oh shoot, let me change this. I do a little squiggle on our side and then connect it to there, but then I would still go back and mark that that was a kill. All right, okay. I think I'm going to kill this virtual background real quick because I think it's making it hard to see my screen. Okay. It's getting dark in here too. Everybody still see this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to hold it out here a little bit. So that's what one would look like when it's all filled in. So just take a minute and look at it. So this was like the first, I think I got to like 18, 14 or something like that as I started that first set. Hey, Sam, can you tell that because I'm looking at it. It's, yeah, it looks, okay, hold on. So go ahead and let me get back. So the way you're looking at it right now, it's actually, you can tell that all those red lines are coming out from where the outside attacker was. So you can tell that way more sets went to the outside than went to everybody else. That's fairly typical, I think, of what you would see from most teams. And I think at least from this particular set, I think we were like almost 40 points into the game or into that set before I saw an outside hitter take a cross court swing. So if you're looking at all those red lines, you can see that there's not one single ball in the first maybe 35 points of that entire game that one of their outside hitters is just attacking the ball to our right side of the court the entire time. So maybe in this case, if Sam had that information, she could make some great defensive adjustments to try to shut that down. At the bottom, also note that I statted what actually happened. So the opposite had 1 kill and no errors. The middle had 0 kills and 1 error, and the outside had 2 kills and 4 errors. In this particular situation, I didn't differentiate between the 2 outside hitters, and I didn't mark 2 different outside hitters. I just marked in general where the attacks were coming. And remember, these attacks were all in transition, so these are not any serve receive swings. So basically what I want you guys to think about is we're trying to gain an advantage in serve receive. And so we're trying to figure out what their tendencies are in serve receive. Most teams will have certain tendencies of what they want to do. Setters will have tendencies of where they want to go with the ball, depending on where they get passed. We can learn from that by charting the way that Sam charted. And there's also hitting tendencies that you can pick up. Certain girls have tendencies to do certain swings out of serve receive, and they might have different tendencies in transition. So when we're watching the rally and we're just watching nothing but transition swings, we pick up different tendencies that way. So obviously in the example that I showed you, we saw that their hitters in transition are hitting a lot of balls down the line. Now maybe because I didn't track it, maybe there were some cross court swings that happened out of serve receive, but hopefully you guys can imagine a situation where, let's say the outside hitter doesn't have to pass the ball and they can jump way outside and have all this time to set up for their swing and get a nice angle of attack coming in that opens up the cross court for them. And they do a really good job of that in serve receive, but when they transition, they don't do a very good job of getting outside. So there's not really a lot of outside hitters that don't do a good job of getting outside the court that are going to be able to attack a lot of balls hard cross court, because they're staying inside and they're coming on a really flat approach. And so most of their transition swings are going to be more out in front of them